in the brand confidence group to talk about imposter syndrome. My screen's just gone blank, which is really not very helpful. I can't say anything. Hang on. Let's just get that out of the way. Sorry. Okay, so you know what? I forgot to ask you before we came on here how I say your surname, so I could introduce you properly.
It's Edusei.
Edusei. I thought it might be, but I was like, there was a few other options that it could be in my head. So I'm here with Steph to talk about imposter syndrome. And I'm just going onto the group so that I can see the comments, because Be Live gives me the comments, but it doesn't actually tell me who said anything. So it's always nice to be able to connect words and people up together. So while we wait for people to turn up, do you want to give us a little bit of tell us a little bit about what you've been up to today? Just give people a chance to arrive. Oh, you've gone. And you're back. Nearly back. Oh, there we are. You have returned.
Back.
So tell us a little bit about what you've been up to today, and then we'll introduce you properly, and you can tell people who you are.
Yeah. Well, I've had quite an interesting morning. So I woke up about 5:30, and I do wake up early, but I woke up and I had a message on my phone from a friend, and she had been swimming at South Shields for the solstice. So I think she was swimming at 3 o'clock in the morning in the sea. And she put a lovely picture of the sunrise, and then they'd had a campfire on the beach, and it just made me get up, and I made a cup of tea, and I went out and sat in the sun in the garden, and just had a lovely time for about 10 minutes, and then realised the dog had escaped the garden and was running around the village somewhere. So that kind of quickly get dressed and go out to find the dog, but she was fine.
Oh gosh.
And then actually I've just been doing various bits and pieces for my coaching business, for my paid employment, and I love working from home because you can just do things at your own pace, and I get far more done. I have cups of tea and a nice breakfast and all that type of thing. So yeah, it's been a nice relaxing morning so far.
Yeah, it sounds nice and relaxing. Mine was not relaxing at all, but that's because I had to take kids to school. Well, a kid to school. And that's never fun. She's the slowest person at getting ready ever. But it's been all right since I got to work. Right. So we are going to get started then. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do? And then you're going to share some tips with us about imposter syndrome.
Great. Okay. So I'm Steph Edusei, as you said, and I coach women in middle senior leadership roles who are generally too busy. They've got competing demands at work and at home. That sounds a bit like you've had this morning. They're basically trying to do it all. They're focusing on everyone but themselves. And what I find is that they're constantly battling, and they fear that they're not good enough, and we'll come on to that one, and that they're going to be caught out, and we'll come on to that as well. And they're always busy. They never have enough time to do what they need. And hopefully a lot of people can identify with that. So I coach with compassion, with honesty, because if I'm not honest, then I'm not doing anybody any favours, and with humour if I can, just to support women to take back control, to step into being that high value leader who's competent and confident. And I do that by focusing on things that really make a difference, so they have a high quality life.
Yeah, which is definitely better.
Yeah, and it's that difference between being successful and having quality of life. And you can do both, but you have to be really careful and conscious when you're trying to achieve that. So that's my coaching business. I also run an organisation called Tell Us North, which runs Health Watch Castle and Health Watch Gateshead, which is a health and social care watchdog. And I'm a dance teacher. So,
wow, that's lots of different things. What sort of dance?
I teach ballet, tap and stage.
Wow. That's amazing.
That.
So
like
you're a very busy person with a good quality of life. What we all aspire for.
Interestingly, I was just having this discussion last night. I don't say I'm busy anymore, because I find that if you talk about how busy you are, it's actually quite depressing. So I'm now trying to say
I'm having a full day.
Well, I'm saying I'm productively active.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I want to write that down. Productively active.
And then people go, oh, that's interesting. And then you end up talking about it.
Yes.
Productively active.
Because busy just sounds really stressful and miserable, and like you don't want to know about that. So,
and it's funny, since I've started or stopped saying I'm busy, I'm probably just as busy, but I don't feel it. I just feel so much kind of like I do as much, if not more, but I'm just so much more relaxed about it. So yeah, it's working for me anyway.
Well, that sounds great. Fantastic. Right, sure. Before we go on to the tips, do you want to tell us a bit about what imposter syndrome is? Because I know there were some people who weren't actually sure, which I thought was amazing. So, yeah, what is imposter syndrome?
I'm probably not as surprised as you, because I think there are
Probably
you
not.
or you don't. And I think imposter syndrome, because of what it is, it's something people don't talk about. So, in a nutshell, it's that feeling when you're in a room or you're in a situation, particularly if you're relatively new, and you just look around and you think, everybody here is better than me. Everybody's more experienced than me. They've got more skills. They've got more talents. I don't really deserve to be here. I got this contract or I got this job. It was a fluke. I just did a good interview or a good bid, and someone's going to find me out.
Yeah.
And it's that constant fear of, I'm not really supposed to be here. I'm not really supposed to have this, and it's going to get taken away from me, and I'm going to be exposed.
Yeah.
So it's that feeling of being an imposter. That's obviously where the term comes from. It's experience.
Yeah. Oh no! Oh, you're back again. No, you're not. Oh, so if you're watching this, oh no, you're back. Go on.
So everybody's tending to think the same thing about each other, but because everybody thinks it's just me, they don't talk about it, because actually that's just them exposing themselves as an imposter, which is why a lot of people have never heard of it.
Yeah, I think for me, I feel like I've heard quite a lot about it just lately. Again, irritating. In Facebook groups with other businesswomen, it's sort of been a bit of a recurrent theme, which is why when you said you could talk about this, I thought, well, that sounds great, because it's obviously something that is on people's minds at the minute, and I'm sure it's on people's minds all the time. But I just feel like it was like everywhere at that point. So,
it's very much. I mean, I would say recently, if I'm not having a conversation with somebody and it comes up at least once a day, I'm amazed. Just chatting to somebody, I ask, say, what's going on? And they'll go, oh, well, Steph. And they say something, this is not in coaching sessions. And I go, have you ever heard of the imposter syndrome? And they haven't. But yeah, it's very much, and I think a lot of the stuff around social media and stuff, while it's great, it kind of feeds it, because you're seeing everybody else having this fantastic career and family life, and they're looking great, because you only post the best of you on social media. And it feeds imposter syndrome. So it's probably more prominent now than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I can't comment about 10 to 15 years ago, because I was still at school. But about 10 years ago, I wasn't. So I think it's really interesting. And I think when people start talking about it, it makes you realise as well that you're not like the only person who's thinking those things, which is quite helpful. So, so you've got 3 tips for us. So what's going to happen in this broadcast, we'll call it that, is the first tip is going to be delivered right here in the Brand Confidence group. And then if you're in the Brand Success Club, you can hop over there and you'll get 2 more, just to expand on the topic and get a bit more amazing stuff from this. So why don't you hit us off with the first tip that you've got for us?
Well, I've almost given you a free tip in telling you about it, because that really does help knowing about it.
It does help, yeah.
I always describe my imposter syndrome as a little thing that sits just behind my right shoulder. It's always my right shoulder, and it's green and it's spiky and it's horrible. I want to get, if anybody's a crafter, I want to get like a model of this spiky, horrible creature that goes, because that's what it's like. And it talks to me constantly. It'll be exactly the same for everybody. It's this little voice that talks to you. The best tip I can give you is notice it. So don't listen to it, because what you've been doing is you've been listening to it but not noticing it. And what I mean by that is it's been going into your brain, but you haven't actually stopped and gone, there's a little voice talking to me. It's not been a conscious thing, it's been subconsciously going round in your head.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you actually notice the voice, don't listen to what it's saying, but notice the voice, you start to become really cognizant of the fact that something is talking you down the whole time. And just that can be really helpful. So the best tip I can give is notice that voice. And every time it happens, go, there you are. Oh, you're off again. Oh, and again. And you might find you're sitting in a exchange in your business or whatever, and it might go 50 times in the space of an hour, telling you you're not good enough, and that you're going to be found out, and that everybody's thinking how stupid you are, and all of the things that it's telling you. Don't listen to it, but just go, oh, and again. Oh, and again. And that noticing it makes it a lot easier, because you recognize that something's going on, and it kind of can short circuit that. Instead of going straight into your brain and into your emotions and you start to feel horrible, you're going, there's something going on here and I don't need to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So
notice it, but don't pay attention. Yeah, that's great. And I want to work out what mine looks like.
I've got such a clear picture of mine now. I can slap it.
I think that's great. Because unless you know it's there and really pay attention to it, then you can't do anything about it, can you? So,
that's it. Yeah, and like I say, for a lot of people, they've been listening to it for years, but they've never actually noticed it. Which sounds strange, but we listen to things all. We have the TV or whatever on the background. We don't notice it's there, but stuff is going into our brain the whole time, and that's what's happening with that little creature, as I call mine.
Oh, that's great. Yes, I'm definitely going to have to think about that a little bit more then. That's wonderful. Okay, so before we move on to the next two tips in the Brand Success Club, do you want to tell us where we can find out more about you? And I know that you have written a blog on LinkedIn, which I was reading this morning, which is actually about imposter syndrome. So I'm going to put that in the comments. And your website. So that's all good. But you go and tell us things.
I have a Facebook page, which is just a New View Limited. I have the website. I'm on LinkedIn, and I do post my blogs that are on the website also in LinkedIn. But actually what I'm doing at the moment is every so often I open up what I call discovery calls. So that's about an hour with me, done virtually. So we do it a bit like this. And it's a chance to really kind of start to get to the bottom of some of what's going on. I only offer a few of them because I want to make sure that I'm not running myself ragged and that I can give the best that I can to clients.
So it takes a long time. I mean, hours a long time.
It is. And actually they're quite in depth. So it kind of takes a little while to kind of get myself together after them and things like that. So I do have some open at the moment. People can book them just by going to tinyurl/discovery Steph. tinyurl.com/discovery Steph. And it's completely free. And as I say, it's just a chance to try and work out what's going on. And then if I feel I can help, I'll say, and this is how I think I can help you. If I can't, I'll say no, but I always try to refer people on to somebody else if that's what they need. So, so that's
so what kind of things do you help people with apart from imposter syndrome? What kind of
things like being too busy, managing your time, really be yourself at work or in your business, and looking at where is it you want to go? So that kind of future, and how are you going to really achieve fulfillment in your life? Because I don't like talking about work and life. To me, work is part of your life, and I think especially if you're running your own. So in your whole life, how you can be happy and fulfilled.
Brilliant. Great. Well, I'll put those links in the comments. Right. And if you're in the Brand Success Club, come join us over there. So I'm just going to press end broadcast. Dun, 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 dun.